Okay, we're going to start video number 2. We're going to start it with number 9. We're finishing up finding the product. So number 9 says 5m squared minus 7 times 5m squared plus 7. And we're multiplying. 5 times 5 is 25. M squared times m squared is m to the 4th because you add those exponents together. 5m squared times 7 is 35m squared. Negative 7 times 5m squared is negative 35m squared. Negative 7 times 7 is negative 49. Now again, the ones in the middle are going to cancel. And this is 25m to the 4th minus 49. So remember that when we get ready to factor and they only have 2 items, remember what these looked like because we may be needing to work our problems in reverse. Okay, number 10 says to factor w squared plus 18w plus 77. Now when you're factoring and you have a leading coefficient of 1, when there's a 1 right there, we do the box. It's usually the easiest method for us to use. And we divide that box into 4 sections. We put w squared here. And it generally factors into w times w, and y'all know there's a 1 right there. And we have 77 here. Now we're going to find a number for this. Going to multiply it here, that answer goes there. Going to find a number to go here, multiply it here, and that answer goes there. And the circle in the box here and here must add up and be 18. So here we go. We got the factors of 77. 1 and 77, 7 and 11. That's about it. That's all that's going to go in there. And we've figured out by now that those are the ones that I need. So this is going to be 7. 7 times 1w is 7w. And this is the 11. And 11 times 1w is 11w. And together they make 18. So the answer to this one is w plus 7 times w plus 11. Okay? This is the answer right there. Excuse me, 11. Let's look at problem 11. It says x squared minus 10xy plus 24y squared. Okay, this question has an x and a y involved, but it still has a leading coefficient of 1, so we're going to go back to using the box method. And we're going to have x squared here and 24y squared here. And x squared factors into x and x. You'd multiply x to the first times x to the first to get x squared. And we're going to find a number here. We're going to multiply it by that x, and our answers go in there. We're going to find a number here, multiply it by x, and that answers go in there. So I need the factors of 24. Well, they're going to make a positive 24 when you multiply, so they're going to both be negative, or they're going to both be positive. But because they add up to be negative 10, that tells me they're both negative. So it's negative 1 and negative 24, negative 2 and negative 12, negative 3 and negative 8, or negative 4 and negative 6. Which pair? Negative 4. When I multiply here, I'm going to get negative 4x, negative 6, and together they make negative 10. So the answer to number 11 is x minus 4 times x minus 6. That's my answer right there. Number 12, more 12 over here. It says x squared, right, so minus x minus 42. So here we go. X squared here, minus 42 here. Got x and x. Got to figure out what goes in the circle and what goes in the box. Well, the factors of 42, and they're going to be a positive 1 and a negative 1. So it could be 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 14, I believe. It's late. I want to make sure that's right. 4 won't go. 5, 6 will go. Okay. Now, in the middle, I'm wanting a negative 1. So which pair of factors is going to give me a negative 1? The 6 and the negative 7. So this would be 6x minus 7x, which would give me that negative 1x in the middle. So for number 12, my answer is x plus 6 times x minus 7. So that's the answer to number 12. Number 13. Number 13 starts off with 12d squared plus 4d minus 1. And we're going to use the AC method. That starts off with a number other than 1, so we're going to choose a little bit different method for this one. There's number 13. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to multiply 12 times negative 1. It's going to give me negative 12. And I want to add something. When I add them together, I want it to get 4. So I need numbers that are going to multiply and give me negative 12, but are going to add together and give me 4. So the multiple, or the factors of negative 12 are 1 and negative 12, negative 1 and 12, 2 and 6, negative 2 and 6, that way, 3 and 4, which pair will give me 4 when I combine them. This one right here. Now remember, I'm going to put a circle here and a box there. And then when I rewrite this, it's going to be 12d squared minus 2d, that came from the circle, plus 6d, that came from the box, minus 1. So the 4 doesn't show up here. You use these two numbers. Then you factor what they have in common. 12d squared minus 2d. They both have a 2d. What do you multiply 2d by to get 12d squared? 6d. 2d times what is negative 2d? That would be negative 1. What do these two have in common? Look at those. They don't have anything in common other than 1. So plus 1. And when you factor out a 1, it really doesn't change anything. Now, when you get to this point, your goal is that whatever's in parentheses is the same. It's in one of your parentheses, and then the 2d goes there, and the 1 goes there. So you have factored, you have your answer right here. Number 14. Number 14 says 6x squared plus 5x plus 1. And we're going to use the AC method because it has a leading coefficient of 6. So we're going to do 6 times 1, which is 6. And we want them to add together and give me 5. Now, in that problem, all the signs are positive. You got a positive here, you got a positive here. So I don't have to worry about any negatives. So the factors of 6 that would add up and give me 5 would be 3 and 2. So I rewrite 6x squared plus 3x, came from the circle, it's a plus sign, plus 2x, came from the box, plus 1. Then I look for what they have in common. Well, look just two things at a time. 6x squared and 3x both have 3x in common. When you factor out a 3x there, you're going to be left with 2x plus 1. What do these have in common? Nothing except a 1. So it's going to be 2x plus 1. So 2x plus 1 times 3x plus 1. So there's my answer for 14. 15. Question 15. It says 15x squared minus 16xy plus 4y squared. Now you got two variables here, so you know you're going to have x's and y's involved, and we're going to multiply the a and the c together. 15 times 4 is 60. So I want numbers that will multiply and give me 60, but are added together to give me negative 16. Well, they're going to be both negative numbers. So negative numbers, negative 1, negative 60, negative 2, negative 30, negative 3, 20, negative 4, negative 15, negative 5, negative 12, negative 6, negative 10. There's a lot of factors of 60. The pair that will give me negative 16 is right here. Okay? So then I rewrite the problem. So I write 15x squared minus 6xy minus 10xy plus 4y squared. Now notice that these both had xy's this time because that's what the middle term had. Well, what do 15 and 6 have in common? 3. They also have an x in common. They do not have a y in common, so only an x gets to come outside. Now, 3 times what gives you 15x squared? 5x. 3 times what gives you negative 6xy? Negative 2y. Okay, now let's see what these have in common. I see that they both have even coefficients, so they're going to have a 2. And I want it to turn out like this. So I want the 10, I don't want it to be negative. I want something in the parentheses to be positive. So I'm going to factor out a negative 2. And it's going to have a y attached. They both have a y, negative 2y. Negative 2y times 5x and negative 2 times negative 2y. Now the stuff in the parentheses is the same. And the second parenthesis is 3x minus 2y. So this is the answer to number 15. I'm going to stop this video, and that's all the problems that you're going to get from the video today. We're going to work the other ones together in class.